That was a nice warm welcome, you guys. Thank you very much for that.
Sweet. So we're here. These are a collection of content creators or streamers. We found them out in the parking lot. I was there with them. And the objective today, we want to share what we do. And there are some very awesome and cool things as a content creator that you can kind of share with, but also from a learning perspective, educational perspective, but also for community. I mean, we all have our own communities, so many people working together, and it's a chance for these guys to explain how did they do it, why did they do it, and what drives us. So that's the idea. So what we'll do, we'll go around the panel. I'm Murph, Two-Tone Murphy, or Robin, or the Aegis. I'm based in Ireland. I stream on Twitch and a bit on YouTube. Primarily with Microsoft Flight Sim and primarily with general aviation. So that's what I do, and try and do it as best I can for as long as I can, and we'll move it on.
My name is Blue Games, and I stream on YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, Facebook, everywhere else. I also do a lot of YouTube videos as well, and I do flight sim, train sim, anything that says sim on the end, that's what I do.
Hi, I'm Mark. Let's get started. I produce content for Microsoft Flight Simulator predominantly, mainly tutorials, that type of thing on YouTube. And I tend to focus on some of the more technical aspects of flight simulation, cockpits, that type of thing.
I'm Jamie, better known as London Controller on Twitch. I probably should post a bit more on YouTube. I don't do TikTok and Facebook Live, but yeah, I stream full-time on Twitch, and I do post some content on TikTok and YouTube when I get the time.
Good morning. I'm Alyson Johnson. I only stream on Twitch. I produce historical content featuring the golden age of flights and female aviators.
Yes, yes.
My name is Norm, and my actual Chick-fil-A name is XB72. It's fun whenever I get Chick-fil-A and it says XB, I'm like, yes. I only stream on YouTube. I do 95% YouTube videos because I'm just YouTube live streams because I'm just lazy, but I'll do the occasional review every now and again. But welcome, guys.
Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. No, I'm not going to do that. All right, hey everybody. My name's Darren, Sim Fanatic. Yeah, primarily YouTube, actually only YouTube. I've dabbled a little bit in thinking about getting into Twitch, but focused on Microsoft Flight Simulator. But the key, do provide content and videos in that, some tutorials, some things like that, news, like all of us, a lot of us. Yeah, just focusing on the community, the Sim fan family. So thank you for coming.
Hi, everybody. I'm Howard from Ford to Learn to Fly. I'm on a Twitch channel where we have lessons and group flies, lots of fun. Get together and just fly together in the skies. I also do a lot of lessons too, like our Tuesday night lesson nights where we get right into it and learn about airplanes so we can get confident. I also have a Udemy channel where I have some lessons that I've had students there for quite a number of years now, probably the last 15. So that also helps too because it teaches people to fly using a flight simulator, which is really what we're all here for, isn't it? So I'm helping out here today and co-hosting with Murph and having these friends that we've known for a while, and we see each other on Twitch, and it's so nice to bring them to you, and let's hear what they have to say about how they got into it and how they make their stuff. That's what we're here for.
Sweet. Okay, so the format of this, there's a couple of questions that we have. I'd like to say I wrote them, but no. But we got a couple of questions. But then we want to, it'd be great to get some questions from you guys as well. We covered all different types of content. We all have our own different styles. So it'd be great to get some questions from you guys as well. And there's no such thing as the wrong question. So, all right. So we'll have a little bit of time at the end for questions as we move forward. But I'll start, right? So the first one, for me, there's very little preparation because I just appear and you wouldn't know what happens next. But in terms of everyone else, when you guys have to do your preparation, before you do, be it a live stream or it's going to be creating just a video or even a post, what sort of preparation goes into it? I mean, are you studying the thing? Are you checking the numbers to see what's popular, what's not popular? Do you have to do 20 push-ups before you get going? Like, what way does it work? So we'll move this along our chat here.
It's funny you mentioned push-ups because that is actually part of my routine.
Yes. Nice.
And the reason why is not for like fitness per se. It's just like it gets my heart going, my blood pressure going, so that when I go live, I bring that energy from the start. Because sometimes I stream early in the morning, or we all have regular lives, and we get stressed about stuff, and we kind of just don't be in the mood sometimes, right? Sometimes you just don't feel like going live. It's just a thing. Even though we love this hobby, sometimes we still just don't feel like doing it. And so kind of getting the heart pumping helps me do that. But other than that, I do spend a lot of time in preparation for my streams on any content. Sometimes I'm doing research on the aircraft, trying to pick a route. It takes freaking forever. You could say that takes me a week to do. I don't even know what I'm streaming tomorrow. And so, but yeah, it's a lot of preparation, making sure the sim is working correctly, the scenery is working correctly, the sound. I mean, I could go on forever, but I'm not gonna take a lot of time. But all that stuff, just want to get it fine-tuned.
Sweet.
Well, I do preparation, but I can assure you there's no press-ups involved. In fact, there's as little physical activity as possible. My office chair has wheels on so I can go to the loo. Anyway, the preparation, I do a lot of preparation. I only do one monthly live stream. The rest of my content is review videos, instructional videos on YouTube. I probably have in the works at any one time maybe anything from 3 to 10 videos, because I'll probably test a product, depending on what sort of product it is, of course, 8 or 10 hours at least before I can give an opinion on it, sometimes more. Some of them are very hard to do, particularly if you're trying to record in virtual reality, VR. That can take days, not just hours, to try and get content that's watchable. Because what you don't realize is how much you move your head when you're flying. And if you're watching somebody doing this all the time, well, really tough. So I do a lot of preparation, but no physical activity.
Well, I would probably say my streams are like a workout sometimes. But yeah, I do put a lot of time and effort into picking the flights I'm going to do. Mine's obviously more airline-based, so I try and decide where's best to fly, where am I going to get ATC, is there a new scenery? And obviously I have a lot of people flying along quite a lot of the time, so it's also a case of trying to pick a place where you can get 25 people on the ground at one time. But yeah, I do put a lot of hours in. I mean, after I finish a day, I can have done 2-3 hours of preparation before I've even technically gone live. But yeah, I can't say I do any push-ups, but after I've had a few drinks, it's like a workout.
You should try it. You should try it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't do exercise either, you can tell. But in terms of preparation, I think the longest period of preparation I've ever done is when I was researching the flight by Amelia Earhart and Fred Noonan. It took me about 6 months to come up with all the charts, the information, wading through the Purdue University archives to try and get as much information about where they went, how they did it, all the celestial navigation we used. And because my streams take up to 20 hours of hand flying all the time, I'm prepared probably a month and a half in advance, so I have all my plans and everything done. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into mine because it's all about telling the story and bringing to life the female aviators who risked their lives back in the 20s and 30s and 40s.
Wow. Wow. How do I follow that? 20 hours, 20 minutes. No, seriously, for me, there are two things that determine what route I fly. And that's either the airplane I'm going to fly, if it's a new airplane out, or what kind of plane, narrow body or wide body, or a new scenery that comes out. That's always a good inspiration. Other than that, I do have a chat recommendation in my Discord where people do suggested routes, and yes, I do look at it from time to time. But at the end of the day, it's going to be either a new scenery or a particular airplane that I haven't flown in a while. Then I have to decide, okay, as you said, how many people can fit on this airfield? It can't be too small because there's going to be too many people on the ground and you're going to have a problem. And ATC is going to yell at me, go, hey, you cannot fly to Jackson Hole. It's only for 5 planes. But once I have the route set, then it's a matter of, okay, do I have scenery? So I load up the sim in the destination I'm going, load it up in where I'm leaving from, make sure it's actually showing, because I've landed before and there was no scenery. I was like, oh, okay. And then as far as that time, honestly, I try to get it down to 30 minutes from computer comes on to, you fire up OBS, the sim, all the extra programs in the background, the PackX, the head tracking, all that stuff. Make sure they work. You're watching the time, it's counting down, and 30 minutes go by really quick when you're trying to set everything up to ready to go live. Hit that live button. You'll be stressed, you'll be pressured, you're sweating, things are not working. But once I hit that go button and that intro music starts, then it calms me down. The audience think that music is for them. It's actually for me to get 3 minutes to sit there and just chill, watch it, watch the chat, see what you're saying, and go forward. So that's kind of like my prep.
Well, for me, I've got a full-length mirror, and I look at it and I say, Symphonetic, you're smart enough, you're good enough, and gosh darn it, people like you. That's no physical activity, but yeah, like all of these great influencers say, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of pressure, but it's a lot of fun. And I probably spend, I mix it up. I think one of the things that's good to do is to mix it up, between GA and commercial flying. That's been my secret sauce. But I'll usually, do the same thing, get all the stuff, just like XP was saying, get all the stuff loaded up. I use Streamlabs. I also want to make sure that I have like music as well at the beginning. Make it a production, And the other thing is, I engage, as all of you do, the audience, but making them a part of the show. But it is a lot of work. I know, like the GA flights, and I just realized something, why I don't use VATSIM anymore. Because I pick small airports, and we're all over top of one another. So, but yeah, it's a lot of preparation, but use templates. I use a format and template, just so that I'm not having to, create everything from scratch each time. But it's amazing. But it's well worth it. But yeah, there are some times that you just don't, like Blue said, you don't feel like streaming, but you got to press on, you got to get through it and do it. And it's been an amazing ride.
Sweet.
So for preparation, it depends on what it is. Doing 3 streams, just 3 streams on Twitch a week is still plenty. There's a lot of preparation for what I do on a Tuesday night because that's a lesson night. To be able to teach a lesson, you can't know just what people want to know. You got to know more because they're going to ask a question. So you got to get to know the plane inside out or whatever it is you're teaching at the time. Luckily, my background is in teaching, so that's not a hardship. But preparing, which is really what the topic is and the question is right now, the preparation for a lesson can take upwards of 2 to 3 days of straight time, like a full-time job, 8 to 10 hours of gathering pictures, videos, demonstrations, and getting ready for actually streaming it. The streaming part is the fun part because that's when everybody's together and we're all chatting and we're interacting in chat. But in the other streams, like the Thursday night cockpit chatter, there's times that Andrew and I, my co-host, will just go on live within 15 minutes. We already have the overlays, we already have the music, we have all that stuff prepared ahead of time from streaming for years. But what we'll do is we'll just say, 15 minutes to live time, let's go. Have you got your coffee? Oh no, I'll be back in a minute. So sometimes it can be impromptu. It can be within minutes because we already have our OBS computer set up, we already have our sim computer set up. We know everything's going to work, or we hope it will, and we just have to put out those last minute fires before the stream starts. The Saturday morning group fly, just like a lot of streamers will do, that takes more time to prepare for the flight. But even then, we've gone on last minute, 5 minutes before we start. We go live with some music and get everybody together. And then we ask chat, where are we flying today? It shocks them sometimes. You mean you didn't prepare? No, where do you want to go? And we actually start from there. We might spend the first half hour, some of these guys in front know, and they've made suggestions before, right? It's like, okay, let's fly somewhere, anywhere. So the preparation depends on the nature of the content at the time. The live streams themselves might be impromptu right away. But the YouTube, when we make YouTube videos, like Mark was saying, they can take upwards of weeks to pull together all the assets for a YouTube video, to put them together into some kind of production that flows properly with narration, audio levels. That preparation is another whole study of how to do all of that. So that's just giving you an insight about what we do, and it becomes a full-time job. I'm so glad that I'm retired now from my career so that I can do my hobby to its fullest. And Murph, I'd like to ask you, as a content creator, how much preparation time do you take?
It's a great segue, right? So it's for anyone who's interested in getting into content creation or live streaming, right? We all have the same recipe. You got to prepare for it. You have to plan for it. And yes, you can do something ad hoc, just jump on and see what happens. But hopefully, it's a good insight to say, well, you have to do a bit of prep. You got to learn stuff because someone will come into your chat. They're going to ask you a question. Now, it's okay to get that wrong. I get it wrong all the time. Hey, what does that do? Oh, that's the, yeah, and it works, right? But on any of these guys' streams or content, you can see like it's not like, wow, they're so knowledgeable, and like we didn't, despite what we like to say, we didn't invent aviation. We came close to it, but we're learning it because we have the passion for it. So you can see that from preparation. Like some of my stuff, a dabble of what everyone does. It could be days, weeks, months. I'm up to about 3.5 push-ups. Like that's right. That's where that's at. But yeah, preparation goes in it. But it's a nice segue kind of into the next question. Howard, you have it there?
You bet. So the next question that we have for the panel, you guys, is about the technical requirements. So as you've heard, some of us have mentioned OBS, or we've mentioned, of course, the sim. I guess we all just understand that in the flying industry, it's the sim first, we'll get running. We got to somehow get that screen in. So we got to ask the panel here, what technical requirements, did you know this stuff ahead of time? Did you have to learn all that stuff before the first time you ever streamed? And this is what we'd like to put to the panel and share that insight on the technical requirements for each of their streams. We'll start at this end this time, and we'll go back that way. How's that sound?
Sounds great. So, yeah, that's a great question. So, Google is your friend, right? And, use AI nowadays, that's a big thing, but yeah, so I use Streamlabs, OBS, and so you want to have good sound, you want to have good video quality, you want to have good streaming quality too, so get yourself a good internet connection. I myself am fortunate enough to have a gigabit, and so I've got that, which helps. For sound, I did research, I did end up going with the Go XLR. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that, but it's a great mixer. I've got the Shure microphone. And so, yeah, the sound's really important. The video quality is important. So, and then do research on the OBS settings, right? Because you want to make sure that you're doing the right frame rate, the buffer. You set the bit rate and all that stuff. But do the research. You want to be mindful of like how big of resolution. Some of us got the 2K monitors, some of us have the 4K monitors. So you want to make sure that even if you have a great connection, like I have a gig. There's those in the world that don't, and so you don't want to have your stream rate too high. So it's just a mix, and I could go on and on, but I want to give all these rest of the folks.
Part of that is really just watching some of Mark's videos on settings. Mm-hmm. That's how a lot of us learned.
Yeah, and that's a really good point because and I've done the same thing. I would go out there because YouTube is your friend, right? And there's a lot of content providers out there that will give those suggestions. So yeah.
Yep, I was just going to say that. You said Google is your friend, YouTube is your friend. 100% of the stuff I've learned is watching somebody else on YouTube with their tutorials and what to do, how to set up. I looked at my first streams, I go back years and go, man, what was I thinking? Audio sucked. Forget the camera, that's like a potato. It's like, what are you using to film? You know what I'm saying? But over time, what you could do is, don't be afraid to go back and look at your stream and see what you did, how it sounded to the audience, what it looks like to the audience, and go, you know what, I have to change it. That's terrible. Your green screen is falling down, or whatever. But yeah,
self-assessment.
Self-assessment is very important. It's not that, my wife sees me watching my own stream, she's like, what's wrong with this guy? He's watching his own self. No, I'm looking at the mistakes that I made in the setup of the stream. So yeah, lots of research. YouTube, Google, find out, as you said, OBS to start with, and then you can build on top of it. Learn how to create your scenes, what scenes mean. I use a Stream Deck. very important for a streamer. You could switch between different views quickly.
That's the Elgato Stream Deck you're talking
Elgato
about.
Stream Deck. I actually
Just push
have.
button.
Yeah, mine's on an iPad, believe it or not. I've been paying $4.99 to Apple for like 6 years for that. I should have bought one. Yeah, I could have bought one. But yeah, Stream Deck with OBS, those two combinations are what you're going to start with. And sit there and play around with it. You can stream to yourself, by the way. Create a private stream, run upstairs to the TV and look at what your stream looks like and what it sounds like. But that's just some of the thing. But learn, as Murphy said, you're always learning something new. You're not going to have all the questions. We live in an age where you can type it up and look for it and then go from there.
I don't really know what to add, really, but I wasn't ever going to be a streamer. I work full-time. It's a hobby, as is Flight Sim. Flight Sim took over when I could no longer fly in real life. I use OBS. I also use a mixer suite for software. I've got a Stream Deck. It was the first thing I bought, and it does make it easier to manage your stream. You can even change all your cameras, but not only your cameras, you can manage your airplane. Your camera views, you can manage your community. And also, apart from listening back to yourself, listen to what your community is telling you. They will help you. Mm-hmm. They'll say, Ali, the music's too loud. Ali, you're too quiet. You've messed it up. And just learn and listen and interact with them. They're going to help you more than you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Alyson.
I would probably say that people say the music is too loud in my stream all the time. So yeah, I use a dual PC setup actually, which you don't really need anymore with the way the PCs are and the 40 series cards. Microsoft Flight Sim can on X-Plane and P3D, if people still use that.
Well, they do, yeah.
I do use a dual PC setup for that, and it was blood, sweat and tears to get that working. But yeah, you don't need to have dual PC setups anymore. So I use a audio mixer, which connects up to my Shure SM7B. I've got a really nice camera as well and some lighting as well, which just adds to it. But I think the main thing to note is that you don't need a crazy good setup to get started. I started with a £20 microphone, a monitor, a half-decent PC, and my channel has grown to the point where I've been able to upgrade and get a 40 series card and get a great CPU and stuff. So yeah, I think if you're looking to get into streaming, just know that it isn't about having the best equipment. Yeah. It's about you, and you're the person that people come to watch. Mm-hmm. So don't be too worried. You haven't got to spend like $5,000 to get started with streaming.
Great advice. And like, just before we jump into Mark, it's like with all the hardware and software options that you have, and there's no end to the stuff. You know, what's more important is it going to be your audio or is it going to be your visual? And a lot of people would ask, well, what do I get first? Is it the audio right or is it the visuals right? It's got to be audio first, right? I mean, we've all got to say, yes, it has to be your audio. You can't hear that, you know what I mean? So, but you can see how important it is. I mean, if you're doing something like Flight Sim, that's your backdrop. They can see that. But if they can't hear you, that's the issue. So, yeah, we'd always say audio. But Mark, like some of you've probably tried and tested not just the hardware, but a lot of the software as well. I mean, you've worked on pretty much everything.
Yeah, because I'm not a streamer as such, I do one live stream on YouTube once a month with my Discord community, and we normally just do a multiplayer flight. And obviously I stream and use all the OBS and normal stuff. But for me, from a technical point of view, creating videos on YouTube, perhaps the biggest element for me is we can screen grab all the information we want. We can take videos and collect all the information. But the biggest technical challenge for me is putting it all together in software that you can edit and produce a video, because I always feel that the production quality, if it's easy to watch, people are going to stay and they're going to learn a whole lot easier. And interestingly, I use freeware software for all my editing. It's called DaVinci Resolve, very, very powerful software. But I probably put as much effort into my editing as I do into my content and my testing of the products. One of the reasons I got into content creation was I just couldn't find the quality, or if you're like me, you have the patience and attention span of a gnat. So I like things to be fairly condensed. So yeah, the editing really is my main focus from a technical point of view.
I agree with what everybody said already. I don't really have anything new to add. I like that he brought up the video editing part, because most of us are streamers, but we also do videos as well. Only thing I'll add to that really is, if you're considering doing streaming or video or content, YouTube, Twitch, anything like that, is yes, like he said, I think audio is honestly the most important, because they can't hear you, they will not stay. There's been so many times I go to a stream and like their audio is either the levels are completely off or you just can't hear them at all. And I'm like, I want to watch you, but like I can't. You know, it's just I can't hear what you're saying. I can't engage with you because I can't hear. But other than that, I would say like just get started. Like start with either what you have or just something cheap. I started out with my phone, and that's it actually. So I started off with a mobile flight simulation. And so I literally found a software on my phone to record my phone, and then I found a way to stream that, which was a miracle at the time, and that's how I started my flight sim streaming kind of YouTube. And so again, just start with what you have or what you can afford, and like they said, as you go, as you create content, as you create a community, you can then upgrade that. And I mean, the content is the most important part of all this. Obviously, they got to hear you, but if they can't enjoy what you're doing, if they don't engage with you, if they come in there, they're in there for 5 seconds and they leave, it's not a great thing, right? You want them to stick around and hang out with you. Like create community content, that's the most important part, but get started.
Yeah. Great, all right.
Agreed, yeah.
Okay, so from there, we'll change up a little bit, rather than just going one by one by one. We'll just show of hands or who wants to answer the next question, right? So preparation goes into it. We need a plan. Yes, we have a plan, it's planned. Okay, the technical side, the execution, how are we actually going to do it, all right? And then after that, well, how do we build on from there? Do you build a brand? Are you building a community? How do you now get the name out there? How do you get, not to say popular, but how do you get that recognition? How do you get it out there, right? So if anyone wants to answer that question, because between all of us, all different sizes of communities, different viewer numbers, different everything. So from the very, very high to the starting out stages. And it's not to say, well, it's so much easier if you had all these extra viewers, or the same could be say, well, you know, it's so much easier if you have very few viewers. It's both are under the same sort of pressure in order to either maintain or to grow. So it'd be great to get feedback.
Murph, I'm gonna start with that, because I want to mention about how when I first started, it was not because I decided or even knew about Twitch. It was from my students, from my video courses that I had out for a long time. They said, why not a live component? And I said, like, what do you mean? And they said, why don't you go on Twitch? And I said, what's Twitch? This is like 3.5 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. What's Twitch? I have no idea. This is how you guys can learn too. You're getting the insight from the panel here on what we should be using to build our brand. The whole idea behind it, my first Twitch session, I had my brother on. Hey, I got one. And he's chatting. Now what do I do? So, I mean, this is how it starts, right? And that's how it starts for you, too. It could be your friends, it could be your relatives, or it could be someone who suggested you do that. But I'm going to suggest that you also think about the other social media platforms, even if it's just a posting once in a while. Facebook certainly has a huge, huge audience of niche of people that want to hear what we have to say. It doesn't have to be live stream, but can be just a YouTube page or a posting once in a while. But certainly things like Twitter, X would certainly help for announcements of what you've got coming up. So you might find you will eventually branch into many areas, even if it's just brief postings of what's coming. And that starts to bring them in also. It helps also to network with other streamers. You might be a guest on their streams. And we always like having a guest because it gives variety to the stream. And a good example was when I was working with Jane on the Microsoft official channel as her flying instructor. That gave me lots of exposure, and all of a sudden people were coming over to my channel. That wasn't a plan, it was just an invitation, and I thought it would be a one deal thing, like show up once and that's really a highlight of your life. And it ended up being something that helps drive your channel. So multiple platforms to help build your brand and continue forward and grow. I think would be a good advice.
And it's from the the North American side, right? What's it like on the other side of the pond?
That's very different, Murph, right?
Well, we use carrier pigeon. But like, when you think about it, I mean, the world has gotten incredibly smaller, right? So it's not a case anymore that it's just your key demographics. I stream from Tipperary in Ireland. It's in the middle of nowhere, and that's versus other people who are either in major cities or maybe they're kind of off the beaten track as well. Like maybe just to jump to Jamie, like from your side, because you utilize a lot of platforms, same with Blue. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
What's the advantages or is there disadvantages?
I was going to follow on from what Howard was saying. So, yeah, I think Twitter and Instagram is so good. I do think the absolute key social media platform is Discord. I think having that opportunity to post out an announcement, what you're doing before you go live, when you're going live, it means people can click on that link as soon as you go live, and people can come and watch you. They know what you're doing, and a lot of people use Discord as well. So it's a great platform. I think the second thing that I was gone. I think the second thing that I was going to sort of pick up on was sort of find your niche in terms of growing your communities. I started off with controlling, and the way I sort of got into it was I found my niche. There wasn't anybody that was showcasing controlling the way that I was showcasing it. And there's nobody that told me, oh, you've got to do it this way and you've got to stream this way and you talk to your viewers like this. You just learn it over time, and my niche turned from controlling into flying, then a bit of both, and then obviously my streams are sort of upbeat, positive energy, probably too loud music sometimes. But yeah, I think social media platforms and finding your niche is the most important thing to grow your channels, definitely.
I'm sorry.
I was going to say, can I follow on from that? Because niche. We're a niche within a niche within a niche when it's only when you're doing historical flights and so on. But one of the key things, the Discords and everything, is actually networking on other channels. I wouldn't say I make a nuisance of myself, but I regularly turn up and make myself known and help support everyone that's going, because everyone needs, the people to keep them going. I have a rule that if someone's online and they're streaming, they've got one or two people, that's who I raid. So, just to give them the little growth that we had is to encourage as much as you can.
Yeah, I was going to also say consistency. And what I mean by that is, the minute you start and you figure some stuff out and your stream is looking good and you sound good and there's 2-3 people there, don't worry about it, just keep going. However, what worked for me might not work for everyone is consistency. I earlier on set a schedule. And so I looked at it like people used to watch TV. You go home, you have your favorite sitcom, comes on at a certain time. Well, we are your sitcom now. So that XP or London Controller or Blue is going to be on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at 6 p.m. or 8 p.m. and it's going to be on for 3 hours. And I consistently did that, so now people are looking for it at that time. And I dare not show up at that time, because they're going to be like, where are you? You were supposed to be here streaming today. But I did set a schedule earlier on, and I stuck with it. And now, even when I stream on a day that I'm not supposed to stream because I had a day off, you're like, why are you streaming today? You're supposed to be tomorrow. Because they've scheduled somebody else to watch when you're not on. You understand? They already program, all of us know when we're coming on, and they have it. That is their entertainment, whether they're at work, at school, in class, So if you can be consistent from the start, they know they're going to find you at this time, and slowly your audience is going to grow because they can count on you being there. That's what I like.
This weekend, our schedules are all messed up.
Absolutely.
Where are those streamers? Oh, here we are,
I had so many sad faces in my Discord.
Discord server was a good one you guys were mentioning. I was told by my Twitch stream years ago, like, you got to have a Discord server. I said, oh, now what do I have to have? This is how it worked. You heard us say you were always learning, right? You heard Murph say that too. And so, okay, what's a Discord server? I got to get that. Okay. That's got to be one of the most valuable things you can get. You can do voice on it, you can share pictures, you can share screenshots, you can really get the community working with you on that. So I think that's a valuable tool. That was mentioned a couple
times. Yeah, and there's also, don't fall over, Murph, there's also a discussion to have about digital media creation. Your imagery. I mean, Blue, you have some of the most striking logos, the colors, and they catch the eye. They just do, and like some logos are brilliant because they're just stickman, right? And then others are maybe too complex. So it's something to kind of consider as well. I mean, the brand or recognition of the brand, a bit of thought has to go into that, because they mightn't see your face. And you know, a whole other discussion is, if you're live streaming, well, do you have your face cam on or not? And there's no right or wrong answer. I've leaned more into, well, it's more engaging if there's a face, because, well, you're able to talk to people. You know, you have that engagement. But I think the logo is also quite important there as well. And next thing, you have now got recognised, right? Which is a nice segue into our next question, Howard. If you want to shout at that.
Yeah, do we want to do that because of the time we've got? I mean,
we'll go really fast.
We could skip number 4 here, but number 4 was supposed to be working with developers, which is something that all of us have talked with or worked with to show their products. Because we like the products, it's not necessarily to sell it, or we don't get any money for that, of course, but we show the products because that's what drives the sim. And I've had plenty of developers that I've developed a relationship with, and it did wreck some of my writing endeavors too. I was writing for FS News, and they said, you can't talk directly to developers, because then you might tend to want to always say how good their products are, even if they're not. So it kind of messed up my writing endeavors, because I'm friends with developers, and I like them, and I like their products, and you're going to hear that in my reviews. So I had to focus on, am I going to stay writing and forget about that relationship, or am I going to keep that relationship and just keep being a streamer? And I picked keep being a streamer, because that was important. But that was my take on it. But we'd like to hear you guys and your relationship with developers. And we'll start maybe if we could talk to you, Mark, because you've been doing this for a while too. So
again, because I cover hardware and software, I get quite a lot of developers contacting me on a regular basis, wanting to send me stuff, and I don't always accept it. Because the wife won't allow any more of the house to be. But I think the easiest way to deal with developers, and as a content creator, we need developers, obviously, we need their support, but it's simply lay the ground rules from day one and just say, you send me a product, that's fine, but you, Mr. Developer, take the risk. That if we don't like it, we're going to say so. And if we do like it, we're going to say so. And I think providing those ground rules are clearly understood, and that's the easiest way to do it. And then it's easier for me, because once I've got a product, and occasionally I have had to put out a bad review, and I don't feel the stress because I've made it clear to the developer from day one. It's get caught in a honey trap and affiliate links and earning money, and that's the danger to be avoided, because once your audience believes your impartiality is compromised, your whole channel's compromised.
So true.
And it's a very difficult and balancing act for many of us to find that middle road, which is very important. But for me, and I speak for many of you here, or all of you here, being impartial and being authentic is perhaps the most important thing, even more so than any relationship with the developer.
Yeah, I agree. And if I agree.
I'd maybe just even add, I mean, many of you know that Q8 Pilot couldn't be here, but I remember last FS Expo in Houston, he mentioned, he's like, Symphonic or Darren, he's like, pay for this stuff, so you do the fair review, because you want to be genuine, you want to be real, you want to be honest, because the integrity part, Mark, that was a perfect, that hit it right on, spot on. Because I remember the first time I had a developer reach out to me, and I was all excited, and like, developers reached out to me, giving me something for free, and then I looked at the product, like, ooh. Yeah, I'm not going to cover this one. But yeah, the honesty part is definitely.
But we can still, I'm going to ask you a question, Murph, about content and developers, because you have, on Wednesdays, you have I've been privy to that. I've had an experience with you when I was on your stream, where you peppered me with questions I didn't know were coming. That's exciting, and that's what people tune in for, right? So you have a relationship with developers and people that you've had as a guest on your stream. So tell us about that and how that evolves.
Well, as I answer this, so open invitation to anyone here. If you guys have questions for us, because we're going to dedicate the last couple of minutes just for you guys, and we can run over. Evan said it's sound. We can be here for the next 2 hours. Thanks, Evan. But if you have any questions, just 2 microphones just here, kind of halfway up. Don't be afraid. Just come on up. We're people.
Sorry,
So if you have any questions, just
Could I just say one thing quickly? If any of you are here watching this because you're thinking about getting into being a streamer or a content creator, and I guess some of you are going to fall into that category, just one or two things that I think are important is, just looking here, I'm probably the spring chicken of the family here. I never made my first video till I was over 60 years old.
I'm nearly there.
And I'm retired now, so I get a bit more time to do it. But really what I wanted to say is, you be you. Don't try and copy anybody. Take inspiration from people, take advice from people. But if you want to be successful, you be you. Because the most difficult thing to do is remember that comparison is the thief of joy.
well said. Well said.
Yeah, thanks, Mark.
Okay, so we have a question.
Yeah, is this on? Okay. For the streamers in the panel, when you first started out and you had zero viewers, what was your method for getting content that people actually wanted to watch when they actually came onto your stream?
Great question. So, okay, first time you go live, there's no one there, and then you get super excited, you got your first person, you talk to this person for 2 hours, it's a bot, and then the next one goes on, right?
Something.
We've all been there. But yeah, it's a great question. So how do we build it up from there?
I would say enjoy yourself. Whether it's one person or 10 or 20 or 50 or 100, enjoy yourself. People who come in and out of your stream just for 2 seconds, 5 seconds, and the minute they come in and your head's down and you look bored, they're going to click off. But if you are enjoying yourself, just keep doing that. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
You had something too, right? You next.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's all about. I was quite lucky because people sort of knew of me and what I'd done with the controlling, so I never sort of had that low period of like 2, 3, 5 viewers. But if that is the period that you're in and you want to grow from there, then yeah, I can only echo. Just keep doing what you're doing and keep talking as well. There's going to be someone that will want to talk back to you. At the time, if you're talking to yourself, you might think, oh, why am I bothering? But keep going and people will interact with you and you grow a channel from there.
You can also ask your chat audience, what would they like to hear? What would they like to do? They might even direct you with some requests, and then you can go with that too. You were going to say
and if you are streaming and you come into our streams and you're thinking about doing it, say so, and we'll start following you. You know, our community is such a good community that everyone pretty much knows everybody.
We have this thing in Twitch called raid. You guys know about that, right? We can raid each other, which is not a bad word in this sense. And we can send our group, now that we're done and we're going to finish, we can send our group to another streamer who does something similar. Like that's how we got to know each other here. And so they would do the same. If they were finishing a stream and I was still live, they'd send them over to me. And this is how it works. And that way you can keep going. For those who came in late to my stream, can now keep going with, say, Alyson's stream on a Saturday, that kind of thing. And that works really well. And that also builds the brand, as was one of our questions we can't get to. But it builds the brand because they can follow you right away without any cost or obligation. And they might like you and they might start following you and keep going with you also. That's how you build it too. I hope that helps with the question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sweet. Next question.
Oh, yes, hi, Mr. Scrolly. I have been a streamer for a while, but it just seems like sometimes time of the day, you know, you just can't get everything done.
The time zone question. Yeah, we knew that was coming. Yeah.
So my question is how do you get better at editing your videos to cut the time down? Because, you know, everybody has jobs or stuff like that. And it just seems like that's what's getting me, is I just never have enough time in the day to get the videos out or to stream. So how can I make that a little bit better?
I had one note before we go over to the far end there. I was working a very demanding career when I first started streaming. And I had a green screen cloth behind me so I could have a transparent thing. They didn't see the room. And I would be broadcasting to my day class, my IT class. And at 4:30, I would say, gotta go. And I would step up, turn around, and go to the other side of my green screen where my sim setup was, and I'd start streaming. And that was hard to do because by that time of the day, I wanted to just sit down and relax with a coffee or something. And so I did that at first. I couldn't edit videos. I couldn't spend time to do all that stuff. The live stream, maybe a couple hours, that was it. And that was it for like 3 times a week. So start with something you can fit into your schedule, even if it's a short stream for a few times a week, and make that consistent like we were hearing. And then don't worry about the videos and the video editing for YouTube yet. All right? And start small and work your way up, and maybe eventually you can find the time, right?
Yeah, Blue, you have
let's hear from some others about their opinion.
One question for you. What type of content are you making?
I'm usually doing GA on Microsoft Flight Simulator, but I really want to start getting into the airliners too.
Gotcha. Okay, so I had to do this for myself. I'm gonna keep it short. Cut the fat in your videos. Just because you care about it doesn't mean everybody else cares about it. That's like real, for real. And so, like, I mean, my goal is to keep my videos under 20 minutes for flight sim. 32. It depends on what the context is, but usually, like, if it's just you flying, you know what I'm saying? Cut the fat in under 20 minutes, and also create a storyline. Don't just say, I'm flying from here to here. Why are you flying there, right? Make that, engage the audience so they stick around to the end of the video. So create a storyline, keep it under 20, 30 minutes, cut the fat, and that's all I got for you.
Sweet. Good stuff. All right. Next question.
Hey, my name is Logan, Afterburner X, kind of secret streamer basement type thing. Quick shameless plug, I'm starting a combat experience simulator here in Vegas, networking 8 to 10 sims together. Come bring your friends. It'll be up and running next year. Question, I missed the first couple minutes. Is there a slide with each of your names and Discord channels so we can follow? Or can we go down the line? I'll snag a picture or video that we
can do that afterwards, yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One of the things I might mention is we do have the QA Pilot Media Partner Lounge where we're all there. And that'd be a great chance for all of you to come and meet all of us and have a conversation and ask us any questions that you want. We'd love to see you there.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
100%.
And we're streaming from that booth all weekend.
Yeah.
Wow, 20-pound microphone. No wonder you don't have to do push-ups. So that's good. Sorry I had the shot. There was no danger. I see you guys are talking about different platforms. What are your thoughts on? So I stream primarily, have about a 3,000 subscriber kind of little small thing. I'm pretty much YouTube all the way. Is there any thought to, like, if you do Twitch as well, does that water down the audience? Are you splitting your resources there? What do you think?
Yeah, like we were only discussing this earlier on. Like, I mean, if you're established on one platform and you want to move on to somewhere else, yeah, I mean, the challenge is there. I mean, if you're already established on Twitch, it doesn't matter what viewers numbers you have or how many followers, but that's your thing, and YouTube is very appealing for you, right? I mean, it's like, okay, can I branch into there? My experience with that has been it's a different platform. You're almost starting from scratch again. When I started, I actually started on YouTube, and from my own channel, both YouTube and Twitch are very, very close, and you don't typically see that. It's usually you're very established on one, and then a little bit lower on the other. So for me, if you want to use both, treat the other one as it's starting off again. There's advantages to it, of course there is, but there's also disadvantages. So it's, I don't know. Like, I mean,
I was going to say it really depends what you want to do. So if you're predominantly just streaming, Twitch is way better in my opinion because of all the tools it offers for moderation and content. The community managers that you can have helping you do things is way better than it is on YouTube. It's very lacking. But if you're doing sort of videos on YouTube... I wouldn't say way better. Huh? Sorry?
I wouldn't say way better.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I mean, between the two platforms, the reason why I'm on YouTube is quick. I wanted to make videos, and I realized that I sucked at making videos after the second one. Edit was wrong. My microphone wasn't on when I was recording. I was like, you know what? The lazy way out for me is do it on YouTube. It was recorded for you on YouTube so that people can go back and watch. And you can also chop out sections of it. There's an editor tool in YouTube to do that. So if you want to make content that, if you're streaming late at night, let's say you're streaming after midnight and there's nobody there, it's saved for the next day. You know what I mean? Twitch, you could do that, but I think YouTube is easier to navigate that way. When you do a search on the internet and Google, your search term might come up for the title of your stream, and it'll direct it to your YouTube channel. So, you know, you got to consider those things. Twitch is definitely better for moderation and all kinds of different things. We don't have raid on YouTube. We don't even know what that is. YouTube is terrible.
So Murph, we'll come over to this question side.
So, but think about that as well. You know, on YouTube, it saves your streams and so forth. Try it.
Thank you.
Sweet. Okay. So we are out of time, unfortunately. However, as the guy said, we have our own booth over there. Do be sure to come over. It's the Content Creator Lounge. It was mentioned earlier on. Our good friend Q8 Pilot has arranged all of this. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make it here in person this year. How this fell into my lap, I don't know. But it's on behalf of all of us. It's because of QA Pilot. Well, we're here in front of you today, and I hope we answer some of the questions that you guys might have been thinking. Whatever we haven't covered here, just catch us inside. I mean, we're here today and tomorrow. We have our own area. It's our own booth, and it's you'll see it. It's the Content Creators booth, and the guys are going to be live streaming there. I go over because they have some cool stuff to live stream as well, new aircraft and stuff. So that's where we'll all hang out. So thanks to Howard, who co-hosted with me, and to everyone here on our panel, guys. Thank you all so very much. And thank you guys so much.
Blue skies.
Thank you, guys.